I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Kenny. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like Neiman. And I'm still tryna fight my demons. But we all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on. Maybe put my hands on my head like the Macarena. They want you walking on board like Kima. Ain't give a F to you like John Cena. Putting blood on the brand new Beamer. Tryna earn 8 stripes like Adidas. You get cold when you ride with the heater. It'll turn you to a dog like a keto. And expose to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque o no entiendo. Mi gente must really need Jesus. They shed real blood. I never seen the crypt and I believe it. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy.
Welcome in. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. If you're in the chat, let me know. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to recap the weekend, talk college basketball reactions from the weekend. It's Super Bowl week, so we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl all week on stream this week. I started building my Super Bowl betting card this morning, so we'll be talking about that all week. We'll be previewing the game all week, talking sides, props, everything, novelty props. I love betting on the Super Bowl. So I will be betting on stuff that I typically, would not bet on. The card that I'll end up probably going over the card on Friday here. And I'll be tweeting out my betting card and stuff too. So it'll have a lot of like stuff that typically I would not bet on just because it's the Super Bowl. And then we have some college basketball tonight and some NBA tonight. I have a couple NBA bets that I really like today, so I'm going to give those out on stream. Didn't really bet a ton of college basketball tonight. I put in 2 bets in the Discord. We can talk about the college basketball site. There's 2 good college basketball games on tonight, but I didn't bet on either of those games. But we'll still talk about them. If you guys have any questions, reactions, takes from the weekend, go ahead and drop that in the chat. We'll start out. Where should we start out? Let's start out. We'll start off with the college basketball recap of the weekend. Then we'll head into the Super Bowl. Then we'll head into tonight's bets. So that's how we're going to do it. I had like an okay betting weekend. I felt really good going into the weekend, and it just didn't work out that way. I slightly profited off of some parlays. Baylor play of the day for me, which was my biggest bet of the day. Baylor moneyline saved us. I was wrong about St. John's. I was wrong about Houston. Kansas plays tonight. I don't know. I can't figure Kansas out. I guess I need to kind of reevaluate how I viewed them because they did make a lineup change. They've, in recent games inserted Johnny Furphy into their starting lineup, and they are a different team with Johnny Furphy starting. He really provides a lot for them offensively with his ability to knock down 3-point shots. He's not very good on defense because he's small, and he's a freshman. He's just not used to, kind of the physicality. But he has done a lot for them with how he's been able to knock down open threes. And I don't know. I really can't figure him out. I'm stuck between thinking I need to reevaluate them with this Furphy insertion into the starting lineup and the fact that they're just really good at home and they're just not good on the road. I'm kind of caught in between. I'm not going to be betting on their game tonight. I'm going to see how, it plays out. Kansas State's been reeling, have not been playing good, but I think at the end of the day, Kansas has not been good on the road this season. I respect Jerome Tang as a coach, even though, his team hasn't been playing very good. So I'm not going to be betting on the game tonight, but I don't know about Kansas. I'm going to wait and see a few weeks on them and kind of reevaluate things. As far as Saturday goes, yeah, thankfully Baylor saved us. Play of the day, 2-unit hit. I had them to close out a bunch of parlays as well. That might be the most. I know, like a lot of times, people, joke about sports being rigged and stuff, and we've had this conversation on this stream before, and I've told you guys flat out my beliefs on the matter. I don't believe that there is any sort of like script or like rigging of games, but I think 100% that referees influence games how they want them to, like in certain instances. I fully believe that. There's literally documentaries of referees, like you guys know the Netflix doc, the old NBA ref, and that guy did that for how long and never got caught. Like the fact that people would think that there's not referees that do that stuff now. Uh, Again, I don't think that there's a premeditated team that's going to win prior. I definitely think referees influence games. And I think that, referees can do that. And it doesn't always work out. Like a ref can only make calls. It's on the other teams to make their shots and all that stuff. So that's my thought on the matter. But that was the most rigged basketball game I've ever seen in my life. And Mitchell's in the chat. I know he was tweeting at me about it. And I don't know. Like, I probably wouldn't have been watching the game if I didn't have my biggest bet of the day on Baylor. And I'm not biased whatsoever. I'm telling you guys, I've never seen something as rigged as that. Mitchell, can you chime in? Have you ever seen a rigging of a game more than that? I was in absolute shambles watching that basketball game. Baylor went up 14. Their coach, who like is notorious for not using foul language, like stepped out of the coach's box. They ejected him. They gave him how many technical free throws? And in the blink of an eye, Iowa State went from 14 down to up like 5 points. I was rattled watching that game. I've never seen something like that in my life. The fact of like this guy got a tech for stepping out of the coach's box. Shaka Smart gets on the corner of the court and plays help defense with his team. And I've never seen him get thrown out or a technical anything. And this guy stepped out of the coach's box and they tossed him. I mean, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But thankfully that came through. Baylor did get the win in the end, and that helped us. Schefterbomb, I saw that Bieniemy won't be back. I mean, that's not shocking. They're going to hire Cliff Kingsbury, and they're going to try and go get Caleb Williams. That's at least my impression of the matter. I think that's why I think that new ownership, they want to make a splash. New management, new ownership, they want to make a splash. So they bring in Cliff Kingsbury and they go get his boy Caleb Williams. I think that's what they're going to try and do. But anyways, so that was extremely rigged. Purdue yesterday beat Wisconsin. I can't stand Purdue. You guys know. I don't like Purdue. I don't like Zach Edey. I can't help it. I just don't. Zach Edey, this Purdue team is better than the past 2 years Purdue teams because they can actually shoot the three, which they haven't been able to, like be consistent knocking down 3-pointers the last 2 years, which is why they've been upset early in the tournament. I don't know. It's still Purdue. It's still Matt Painter. He still chokes in March. We'll see what happens when we get to the NCAA tournament. But at the end of the day, when Edey gets out of the Big Ten and plays in the tournament and they actually call fouls and they don't let him just do whatever he wants, I still think it's going to be a different story. I'm just happy you're watching, Mitchell. That was, at least we won, Mitchell. We won despite that. So that's something. It's only February. That's something at the end of this year when we talk about our favorite bets of the year. While it wasn't our favorite bet when it was going on, we're going to remember that all year. Like we won that 2-unit on a team. It was clearly rigged against them. They put time. Mitchell, it was, I've never seen something like that. It was one thing after the other. Have you ever seen a referee, Mitchell, chat, anybody, Have you ever seen in a college basketball game, they stopped the game and they said, we're going to check and see if the clock started right? That's never been done. That's never been done ever. Have they stopped, went to the monitor, gave the team a free timeout because they didn't have any timeouts. They gave the team a free timeout to go see if the clock started the right time. And then after the game, after he missed the game, like he made the game winner, but it clearly wasn't off in time, they went back to check again to see if the clock started when they got the ball. I was thinking they're going to rig it again and they're going to say, like, oh, the clock didn't start. They're going to get another shot at it or they were going to count it or something. I don't know. It was the craziest thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. Yeah, that was a roller coaster of emotions. Like from being up 14, blink of an eye, they're down 5. They battled back, but they were missing free throws. I mean, if that number 2, I can't even think of his name, Nunn. I mean, if he would have made his free throws, it wouldn't even have mattered because they would have been up 4. Like that shot wouldn't have mattered, but they were missing free throws. That was a roller coaster. But that's why college basketball is so awesome. Like, it balances out when that stuff goes against you because believe me, we've had this season already. I've had plenty of that type of stuff go against me. But in the end, it balances out, and it's just there's nothing better than that. When you win a bet like that, there's just nothing better. But yeah, okay, I digress. Super Bowl. I'm starting to formulate my card, like I said. We're gonna be talking about it more throughout the week. If you're in the chat, what's your thoughts on Super Bowl? Who you guys got? Who you guys got right now? Give me a pulse check on the Super Bowl. Niners, Chiefs. Give me a pulse check. One person said Niners. All right. So give me like 2 or 3 more people need to tell me what's going on here so I can get a little sample size here. Because I have my thoughts on the game. I have my early thoughts on the game. And I've seen all the tweets. Everyone's like, oh, the Chiefs are so public, but the line's moving against them. Like, I kind of switched to Niners because of Purdy story. Yeah. So here's my thoughts on this. The Chiefs are very, very public in this game, but at the same time, I've picked against Mahomes this entire time. Yeah. So the Chiefs are very public in this game, but that's not weighting. Like, there's way more futures money tied into 49ers to win the Super Bowl than there is KC. So it all balances out. So I don't care about like the public or like the line. Like, I don't care. I don't care. And I don't care that the line's 2. I saw it go to 2.5 in some places. I don't care about that either because for whatever reason, the books and the market, they are not accurately depicting the Kansas City Chiefs, this version of them, for whatever reason as that is. Because if you think back to it, in my opinion, KC should have been big favorites over Miami in that game. And they were sizable favorites, but that line could have been more than what it was. And then you go to the next game against Buffalo. And who was favored in that game? Buffalo, right? So they were being discounted there. And who was favored in the Ravens-Chiefs game? The Ravens. So, they for whatever reason, the market has been very, very against this version of the Kansas City Chiefs. But I don't know if that's entirely like how it should be, because I think both of these teams are lucky to be in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, the Lions were up big and should have closed that game out and won. And then on the Chiefs side of it, I mean, I think the Ravens team is better, certainly. But, the Chiefs just won the turnover battle. They had 3 turnovers to 0. But I think overall, both these teams are probably lucky to be in the Super Bowl. That being said, the past goes out the window when you're talking about the Super Bowl. It's a 1-game sample. And this Chiefs offense is not as bad as it's been made out to be for the entire season. If you think back throughout this course of this season, the narrative even coming into the playoffs was that Kansas City's offense isn't as good. They don't have receivers, and that's going to hinder them in the playoffs like it has during the regular season. But that hasn't been the case. In all honesty, they've played better over the last 3 games than they played for the entire season. Patrick Mahomes is going to go down as a top 3 quarterback ever, when he's done playing, assuming he doesn't sustain some sort of career-altering injury in the next 2 years. he's going to go down as a top 3 quarterback of all time, given his already insane track record. He's about to play another Super Bowl, right? So we're talking about a top 3 quarterback of all time, and he's playing the best football of his entire career. This is the best version of Patrick Mahomes we've ever gotten. So I don't really think that the narrative that the Chiefs offense is down is correct, because I think Mahomes is playing at the highest level he's ever played at. They finally found what clicked, which is Rashee Rice, and Travis Kelce's back to his prime form. So when you look at the Chiefs offense, when they were really struggling, which was early in the season, it's because of guys like Tony going offsides. Like, think back to the Chiefs season. Tony going offsides against the Bills. That cost them a win. So that would have been another win. Marquez Valdes-Scantling dropped a game-winning touchdown, I think, against Philly or somebody on one of those primetime games. That would have been another win. And then if you think back to, like, I think they played the Packers or something and lost, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling got clearly interfered with, which would have won them the game because it was down right by the end zone, and that didn't get called. That's 3 games where they should have won that they didn't, if you think back through the course of the season for KC. And they're not relying on Kadarius Toney or Mecole Hardman against the Bills had 2 fumbles. Like, he played 1 snap last week. They're not really relying on these guys anymore. They found what works, which is Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce's back to his prime form. And they have Isaiah Pacheco, who's going to be fully healthy coming into this game with the 2 weeks off. Travis Kelce's going to be fully healthy coming into this game with the 2 weeks off. And they're rolling. So I don't think that the market is accurately weighing, Patrick Mahomes playing at this form. He's been underdogs in 2 straight games. They've won outright. He's an underdog here again. I don't think it matters. So for me personally, when I consider the game from all angles, just without even diving into any analytics, top to bottom roster, San Fran better? Yeah, of course. Of course they have a better roster. But, the better roster doesn't always win. The Eagles had a better roster than KC last year, and KC won the Super Bowl. Who has the better quarterback? The Chiefs. Who has the better head coach? The Chiefs. Who has the better defensive scheme and ability to create a game plan for one single game? The Chiefs. I would trust Spagnuolo over Steve Wilkes every day, twice on Sunday. Spagnuolo's proven throughout his career in the playoffs of being elite in terms of forming a game plan around a team. And he's done it time in, time again. So that's 3 checks towards KC. And then if you want to consider, if it's going to be a close game and it comes down to it, who has the better kicker? I would go KC as well. And KC, I think, they also have more experience. I mean, they've won multiple Super Bowls with the, kind of basic construction of this team. So that's a lot of factors favoring Kansas City, in my opinion. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to bet on a side of the game right now. But I definitely would lean KC despite how public it is. I think that's a false narrative. I don't care. If it's a 1-game sample size, give me the better quarterback, get better coach, better defensive game plan, better kicker if it's a close game. I'm leaning KC over San Fran. But it's going to be a great game. I'm super excited for it. We will be, we'll be coming up with more bets throughout the week. I'll have my full card up as we progress. Favorite prop. So right now, based off stuff I was looking at, props I like that stuck out were, I like over 47.5, I believe, over 47.5 for the longest field goal. I think looks like a good prop. I like it's minus 140 right now, but under 1.5 shortest touchdown. So that means like the closest touchdown to the end zone scored under 1.5 yards. So a 1-yard touchdown, I think is a good bet at minus 140. So those were 2 that stuck out to me. In terms of player props, I'll probably be on Rashee Rice over catches, whatever his line is. I think there's a scenario where he catches 9 or 10 balls in this game, especially if San Fran's historically a really good tight end defense. I don't know if you can stop Travis Kelce because it just seems like he's played like his normal self in the playoffs. And it just seems like every game, that they're going to go to Travis Kelce, and somehow he still always gets open. So I don't know if San Fran can stop him, even though they're a really good tight end defense. But if they do give extra attention to Travis Kelce, obviously that's going to help out Rashee Rice. But Rashee Rice is the only consistent target for Patrick Mahomes other than Travis Kelce. And if you just look at his recent games, I'll pull it up. Let's see what he's done in his last couple games here. I don't know what his reception line is, though. It might be like, if it's 7.5, then no. But if it's 6.5, I think, I'd be interested. 8 catches. He's got 8 catches in 2 of his 3 playoff games. The miss was 4 against Buffalo. But he had 12 targets against Miami with 8 catches, 9 targets against Baltimore with 8 catches. So I think I'm going to like Rashee Rice receptions, or maybe I'll alt that up a little bit. It's at 6.5. Yeah, I like the over 6.5 Rashee Rice receptions. MVS at 18.5 is interesting. So the books made a big mistake. They listed him at like 7.5 yards his last game. So there is a way that I think either MVS or Watson catches at least one long pass. I just don't know which one of them it's going to be. But that's definitely interesting to me. It's something I considered. Maybe take like longest, if they have odds for like their longest catch, you could take the over, because I do think one of them is going to catch a long one. I just don't know which one it's going to be. And if San Fran is going to play it, like, I don't know how they're going to scheme this up. Like, this is something we're going to have to see when the game starts. But if San Fran comes out and they play, very zone heavy, I think Mahomes is going to pick them apart. If they try and give extra attention to like Kelce and Rice, like, it's going to open up MVS and Watson one-on-one, which obviously I think that, the odds on them catching a long one in that scenario is high. And I think that there's a chance they catch a long one anyways. So I'm interested in one of them. I just need to figure out which. I also like some long odds first touchdown scores, which I'll be posting on my card, but I think there's a lot of value on KC first touchdown. Things can get crazy in these Super Bowls. Like we saw last year, Kadarius Toney scored in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. Sky Moore scored his only touchdown of the season in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. So I think that there's some value for like a first touchdown score, long odds on someone on KC. Richie James 5.5. Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, he's been playing more than Hardman the last few weeks since that Buffalo game. So yeah, I do think he'll play. I just don't know how much, but yeah, 5.5 I think is interesting for Richie James. I do think that's interesting. But all right, we'll be talking more Super Bowl throughout the rest of the week. Let's dive in here. College basketball tonight, and then we're going to do NBA. I have 2 NBA picks I like for tonight. Like I said, there's 2 big games. First one, 7 p.m., Miami, Virginia. It's at Virginia. Virginia, very, very good at home. It's the same old story for Virginia. So this game's kind of a contrast of styles. Miami, they play very fast. They score a lot of points. Virginia, they play extremely slow. They grind you. They play D. They don't score a lot of points. So conflicting styles at play here. Virginia is very good defensively, especially at home. They are elite defensively at home. So I think it's going to be interesting to see who wins kind of that battle. It's a quick turnaround too. Both these teams played on Saturday and it's Monday. So I think that could maybe favor Virginia here in terms of them being able to dictate the pace, slow the game down. I'm not taking any plays in this game. I'll just be watching it as a fan. I think that if you think this game goes under, there's no way you can lay 5.5 with Virginia in a low-scoring game. There's just no way I would touch that. So, I mean, if you put a gun in my head, I'd lean Miami to cover that 5.5, but I'm not touching the game. Should be fun. I cannot lay 5.5 with Virginia. So they're very good at home, but I'm not touching the game. Moving on down here. I'm not playing this. But McNeese State is playing tonight. This is Will Wade's team. You guys know we talked about him a few weeks ago. They're actually pretty fun to watch for a small team. So if you guys are bored, you have nothing else to watch, McNeese State, I'm sure it's probably on ESPN Plus. But I'm not laying 17.5 there. I do like Alabama State here over Florida A&M. Alabama State is so banged up coming in this game. Their best player has missed some time recently. I don't know if he's going to be available for tonight, but I like Alabama State. 8.5 is a little bit too much for me to lay there. I like that better at 6.5. But what you can do is you can take their money line and parlay it with one of the other spots you like tonight. I think it's a good spot at home for Alabama State. Bethune-Cookman here in Alabama A&M is a fun game. I like Bethune-Cookman. I think they're a significantly better team. You can see spreads moving towards them. They're getting a lot of love. Only 59% of the bets, but 85% of the money. Some big bets have come in on Bethune-Cookman. I think Bethune-Cookman should win this game. So that's one of my favorite plays on tonight's slate. You could just take them on the money line since it's minus 125. Completely fine laying that. These teams both are top 50, I believe, in pace per KenPom. They both play very, very fast. So should be a lot of points scored because their defenses aren't very good. You can see here, if we look at the total, opened at 147, 41% of the tickets, but 93% of the money are on this over. The under is the public side, but it is like massive, massive money in favor of the over, which checks out considering it's two fast-paced teams, two bad defenses. I'm probably not going to take an over at 150. Like an hour ago, it was still at 148.5. If you can get a 148.5, I'd be completely fine taking the over in this Bethune-Cookman Alabama A&M game. I lean Jackson State down here as well, and I lean Eastern Washington. I would have really, really liked Eastern Washington if I would have got it this morning at 3.5. 5 is a little bit excessive. I think that they're a candidate. Bethune-Cookman, Jackson State, and Eastern Washington, those are my 3 candidates to pair moneyline with Alabama State tonight. So you could just do with that what you will. I think Eastern Washington's significantly better team than Portland State. I don't love backing road favorites in conference play, but yeah. Round robin. Yeah, Mitchell. So if you guys missed it, I did cash a round robin. I gave that out in the Discord. We hit 4 out of 5. And yeah, I think Mitchell, I think I'm going to do some more round robins on like those big college slates. Like tomorrow, I think would be a good night. There's a lot of games. So I might do that more. Pick like 5 teams and try and hit 3 or 4 out of 5. I've never done it much. I did it like one time with touchdown scores, I think, but I might do it more on these bigger college slates because that did pay. And would have been a huge, if Kentucky would have won, that was our last leg. I mean, that would have paid crazy. Big game here though after the Miami game is Kansas State. Kansas coming off that huge win against Houston on Saturday. I was talking about that a little bit at the beginning of the stream. Kansas State, they've been reeling. They've lost a few games. They lost like Oklahoma State, who's horrible, but I still think Jerome Tang's a very, very good coach. So I'm not willing to just write them off yet. Kansas has been much worse on the road. They've lost to UCF outright on the road. They lost to West Virginia outright on the road. They lost to someone else on the road recently too. I think they've lost like 3 of their last 4 road games. The win was like Oklahoma State, who's just flat out terrible, I think. That was a big win over Houston, but this team still is different away from Fog Allen. I'm not betting on the game. Just like I said, I need to take some time and reevaluate my stance on Kansas. So I'm not going to be betting on or against Kansas for the next few games because I want to see how things work out here. I could understand leaning Kansas State at home here, but I don't know. Kansas is a significantly better team. It's just the fact that they struggle on the road. So I'm not going to be betting the game. I'll be watching it. Best of luck if you are on a side there in Kansas State. Let's move over to NBA and give out 2 plays I like tonight. First play for me, it's a smaller slate here. There's just 6 games. Lakers, Hornets, Kings, Cavs, Mavs, Sixers, Clippers, Hawks, Warriors, Nets. Finish out with Raptors, Pelicans. So for me, first bet is going to come in the Kings-Cavs game. I don't think Darius Garland's going to play in this game. He got downgraded to questionable with a knee injury. So I don't know if he's going to play. But my favorite play in this game is Donovan Mitchell over 6.5 first quarter points. He has hit this line. If you look at his recent games, he's hit this in. If you look at his last 10 home games, I believe he's hit this in 9 of 10. He has hit it in his last 5 home games. His one miss came against the Spurs a few games ago, but he's been sailing over 6.5 first quarter points. If you look at his last games at home, 9, 10, 14, 10, 12. The miss was a 2, and then an 11, 8, 11, 8. So, I mean, he's been sailing over 6.5 first quarter points. Kings, gettable matchup for him. He might get the added bonus of Garland being out, which obviously could take some looks on offense. So, I like Donovan Mitchell over 6.5 first quarter points tonight. It's like minus 115 the last time I checked. I'm going to give it out in the Discord later when I officially enter the bet, but I do like Mitchell over 6.5 first quarter points. And then in the next game, Sixers Mavs, I like Tyrese Maxey over 36.5 points plus assists. He's been smashing. He scored 50 over the weekend. Without Embiid, I mean, he's been absolutely cooking on offense. I think this is a gettable matchup for him here against Dallas as well. And I mean, they're going to inflate these lines at some point, but you can comfortably just keep taking Maxey to score without Embiid. I mean, he does everything on offense. So Maxey over 36.5 points plus assist. Donovan Mitchell over 6.5 first quarter points against the Kings. Those are my 2 favorite NBA bets tonight. What team can't afford to not make a trade by Thursday's deadline? I mean, I think the Warriors are probably going to make some sort of move. I don't know what it is, but I could see them making a move. I could see the Cavs making a move, maybe for like not like a major player, but I could see the Cavs adding somebody. I could see the Lakers. The Lakers are always in play to do something at the deadline, so I could see the Lakers doing something. But most importantly, at the trade deadline, the New York Knicks need one more player. I think that the Knicks are a very good team. I'm like usually a Knicks hater with like a negative outlook just on their team because they haven't been good in like my entire lifetime almost. I'm not counting when they had Carmelo as them being good because they never won anything. But I think they need one more player. I don't know if they could go get like Michael Bridges, but the Knicks are close to being very good. I think they need one more player. I would like to see them make a move. If they could somehow get Bridges, man, I mean, then we're talking about them like really being a threat in the East. So we'll see what happens. Lakers always in play to do something. I think Golden State's going to do something. And I would love to see the Knicks make a move and go get somebody. But overall, thank you guys for tuning in. Gave out some bets, college, NBA. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday. Big college basketball slate tonight, so we'll have a lot to talk about college. We'll talk some more Super Bowl. I'll be doing some more Super Bowl research tonight, so I'll have some more Super Bowl stuff for you guys tomorrow. If you want access to the Discord, betcorner.com/pricing. I'm going to be posting an NBA same game parlay for tonight with my 30% boost from FanDuel. So I'll be posting that in the Discord later along with any other plays I take. Good luck with your wagers tonight, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday, 3 p.m. for the big college basketball slate, NBA, Super Bowl. Good luck tonight. I'll see you tomorrow.